Welcome to NarrativeNook audio tales where enchanted stories come to life. If you enjoy our stories, please subscribe, like and share to support our channel. Enjoy listening.
When Fiorella walked out of Johnston Group, she did not leave the place immediately. Instead, she went to the coffee place opposite and ordered a cup of coffee to chill. She was waiting for Jared to come out and walk into her trap. In the afternoon, Jared continued working after lunch. He did not rest at all. Fiorella was comfortably having her tea time at the coffee place. She did not expect Jared to stay in there even during lunch break. The customers in the coffee place had shifted from group to group. Fiorella was the only one who continued sitting with her dessert and coffee. Fiorella looked at the time, and it was already 2 in the afternoon. She was starting to be impatient. Did I overthink it? Is Jared really out of town? Fiorella held her bag, walked out of the coffee place, and walked to her car. At the same time, Jared had just finished working on the last document. He covered the pen, wore his coat, and walked out of the office. He was worried that if he delayed for even a minute, he would bump into Fiorella at the office and be stalled by her again. So, he hurried to the parking lot. Fiorella got into her car and took out her phone to search for Jared's contact. She hesitated for a moment. Then she pressed the dial button. Jared had just reached the parking lot when his phone suddenly rang. He took out his phone to check. It's Fiorella. Why is she calling again? He slipped his phone back into his pocket as he had no intention of answering the call. Then, he quickly walked to his car. Fiorella was holding her phone while waiting for Jared's voice to come through. All of a sudden, a familiar figure flashed across her eyes. She immediately looked over. Isn't that Jared? She decisively got down from the car and walked toward that person. She heard the ringtone too. So, she quickened her steps and watched that person get into the car. It so happened that it was Jared's car too. I knew it. He was around this whole time. After Jared entered the car, the phone stopped ringing. He started his car engine and was ready to leave. When he reversed his car and was about to drive forward, a figure suddenly appeared right in front of his car standing. Jared immediately stepped on the brake. Why did this person suddenly appear? After taking a closer look, Jared gasped. Isn't that Fiorella? Didn't she leave already? What is she doing here? At that moment, Jared's mind was filled with questions. Fiorella slowly walked toward the passenger seat. It really is Jared. Then, she pulled the car door open and sat in the car. Mr. Jared, what are you doing here? Aren't you out of town? Fiorella smirked and looked at Jared. Gotcha. Thanks to that uncovered pen and me for not driving off earlier. Otherwise, I would have missed you. Jared looked at Fiorella politely, but deep down inside, he was wondering how he should answer her question. How did you know that I was out of town? Jared did not reply to her, but threw another question. Didn't your assistant tell you that I went to the office and looked for you? Fiorella did not answer his question too and replied with another question. Jared furrowed his eyebrows a little. Then, he turned to Fiorella, looking like he had a sudden realization. I think she did mention roughly, but I was busy at that time, so I did not think much about it. After that, I forgot about it. Such a big company, and yet you have to take care of everything on your own. You seem to have a hard time, Jared. Your employees are really useless. Fiorella did not expose him. The only thing that mattered to her was finding him. As for him lying, she felt that there was no need for him to admit it. It was not important. Miss Fiorella, is there anything you want to tell me? Jared made a smart move by using his assistant as an excuse. It was only then that he managed to escape Fiorella's question. Mr. Jared, I don't think this is a suitable place to discuss things. Let's go to my clubhouse. Your clubhouse is too far from here. Let's go to a nearby cafe. I know of a good cafe. The nightmare Jared experienced at Fiorella's clubhouse the previous time was still fresh in his mind. He did not want to step foot in that place again. Furthermore, Castor would not be there with him. It would be a challenge for Jared to handle Fiorella. I've been sitting at the cafe the whole day. Why not let's go to a restaurant nearby? Fiorella had just come out from the cafe. Even her breath was filled with the smell of coffee. She could not drink any more coffee. That's fine. As long as they were not going to her clubhouse and it was a place with more people, Jared was fine with going anywhere. How about the Blue Whale restaurant? Fiorella raised her eyebrows and asked Jared. Hearing the name Blue Whale restaurant, Jared glanced at Fiorella. She knows about this restaurant too. But that's nothing extraordinary since it's just a restaurant. It's normal for her to know about such a place as someone who likes to hang out. There isn't a place of which she doesn't know. Miss Fiorella, do you frequent that restaurant? Jared asked the question casually. No. I recently heard that the food there is pretty good. Since I have the chance to eat with you, I thought we could try it out. Fiorella smiled widely at Jared. After she bumped into Nicole in the elevator lobby the last time, Fiorella did a background check on Nicole's recent movement. She found out that Nicole frequented the Blue Whale restaurant with Jared. She took advantage of Nicole's absence and tried to replace her to dine at the restaurant with Jared. All right. Jared thought, so, she has no clue about the Blue Whale restaurant. What is she actually planning to do this time around? Jared started the car engine and drove out of the parking lot toward the Blue Whale restaurant. In the car, Fiorella would look at Jared from time to time. She did not know what to chat with him about. So, she decided to ask about the things he had done the past few days when he had been away. Mr. Jared, I haven't seen you for days. What have you been up to? Fiorella stared at his handsome face and asked. I've been busy with the problematic projects which Henry left behind. Jared did not try to hide. Instead, he simply replied in a sentence. After all, it was not something embarrassing for people to know of. At the mention of Henry, Fiorella could not help but rant, damn it, this Henry Johnston. He actually dared to run away after doing terrible things. Such a person deserves to die. Mr. Jared, it has been quite a while. Is there any news about Henry yet? Fiorella looked at Jared and asked. She had no purpose behind the question. It was just purely her curiosity. I heard that he's abroad. I'm not sure about the specific place. Jared did not tell her the truth. To avoid anyone leaking the news, it would be best if people did not know about Henry's whereabouts. Otherwise, it would be detrimental to Jared's plan. Henry really knows how to hide. I can't believe there isn't any news about him. Could something bad have happened to him? Fiorella suddenly covered her mouth and made a wild guess. I don't think so. Maybe he's just hiding in a hidden zone. So, it wouldn't be easy to find him, but that doesn't mean that he won't be found forever. Jared looked in front firmly. Yeah, after some time has passed, he won't be able to hide anymore. I'm sure he'll be exposed one day. Fiorella spoke in an angry tone. While the two were chatting in the car, Jared had already driven them to the entrance of the Blue Whale restaurant. He parked his car and walked up while Fiorella followed him. The manager noticed Jared and hurried over to welcome him. Mr. Jared, do you want the usual spot? It's fine. Just give me a quiet spot. Jared simply requested. Fiorella observed the manager's look. She could tell that Jared frequented the place and had a designated spot. However, Jared was not willing to bring her to that table, and she could not force him. Therefore, she could only follow Jared's arrangement. This way, please. The manager got what Jared meant and guided him and Fiorella to a relatively good spot at the restaurant. The manager was unsure why Jared did not sit at his usual spot, thus helping him to another seat instead. The scenery at the new seat was not as good as the place Jared and Nicole often frequent at. Mr. Johnston, please take a look at our menu. The manager handed the menu to him. Ladies first. Miss Fisher, you can order first. Jared signaled the manager to hand the menu to Fiorella. The manager immediately handed the menu to Fiorella and said respectfully, Miss Fisher, please take a look at our menu. Okay. Fiorella looked up at the manager, then took the menu and glanced at Jared. Since you insisted, I'll order first. Jared looked at her and nodded. Fiorella opened the menu and scanned it while the manager waited for her to order. She flipped the menu to the last page but did not order. The manager watched Fiorella fidgeting around, assuming she was conflicted about what to order, so he asked, "Miss Fisher, do you need me to have some recommendations for you?" "Yeah. You can recommend to me what Mr. Johnston would usually order." Fiorella placed the menu down and looked at the manager. The manager's smiling expression froze for a moment, and he glanced at Jared. Jared instantly knew what Fiorella meant. He looked at the manager and said, "It's normal for Miss Fisher not to know what to order for the first time. Ordering the same dish as I am is not wrong either. We'll take 2, and also my wine." The manager let out a huge sigh of relief when Jared understood the situation he was in and said, "Yes. I will prepare it right away." The manager was scolded by Jared before for not serving his meal in time. He now felt the need to perfect his service in catering Jared. He scurried to the back kitchen and gave out instructions to the chef. "Mr. Johnston ordered 2 of the same dishes today. Prioritize their dish." "Yes. This is Mr. Johnston's wine. Go and serve it." The manager did not want things to be made difficult by Fiorella, so he sent a server over. The waiter cautiously walked over to their table with the red wine in hand. Fiorella noticed the manager was not attending to them. Instead, it was a waiter. A smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. "It seems that the manager was intimidated by me. I probably must be the first person ever to want the same meal as Jared," she thought. The manager had been keeping a close eye at Fiorella's direction from the front desk. He was puzzled when he noticed that the waiter had returned without doing anything. The manager thought, "She didn't make things difficult for him. Did I do something wrong, or have I analyzed the situation wrongly? Miss Fisher, what do you think of the ambience here?" Jared chatted with her casually. "The ambience here is quite nice, but it doesn't seem like a great seat." Fiorella looked at Jared pointedly. Jared knew what she meant. However, he looked into her eyes and did not answer. Fiorella noticed that Jared did not speak. She felt uncomfortable trying to keep the conversation going. "I don't like going to places where other people have been." She wondered if Jared had brought other people to the seats they were sitting at. "Mr. Johnston, have you ever been to the office after returning from your business trip?" Fiorella looked into his eyes and asked. Jared also looked into her eyes and said, "No." The corners of Fiorella's lips curled slightly, and she continued, "There are some things you may not have been aware of yet." She looked at him pretending to be mysterious, which aroused his curiosity. "What's wrong?" Jared was curious when he heard what she had said. "I've dedicated most of my time being at the company. What else possible could I not be aware of?" Just as Fiorella was about to speak, the server came over to serve them their meal. "Mr. Johnston, your meal is served. Please enjoy." The server then left respectfully. Jared raised his wine glass and looked at Fiorella. "Miss Fisher, this is fine wine. Take a sip and try it." She picked up her wine glass and slowly twirled it, then took a sip and praised, "Mr. Johnston's favorite wine is really good. Can you give me a few bottles?" "As long as you like it, I'll get someone to send you a box later," Jared said generously. "Don't bother. It will be better if I go and retrieve the wine you have gifted me from you personally." "Thank you, Mr. Johnston," Fiorella toasted to him with a smile in her eyes. "What did you mention just earlier about the thing I didn't know about?" Jared continued to ask. Fiorella placed down her wine glass and smiled slightly. Instead of telling him directly, she slowly picked up a knife and fork to cut her steak. "Do you know that Ms. Riddle has left?" How did she know that Nicole had left? Was she following Nicole? Jared looked at Fiorella calmly while thinking. "I know," Jared said. Fiorella was not surprised, knowing that Nicole could have said her goodbyes to him the same day. But there was someone who got onto the same flight as her. "Did you know that?" Fiorella looked into Jared's eyes carefully. His eyes flashed with seriousness when he heard her words and asked, "You mean someone is following her?" "That's right," Fiorella said calmly. "Why are you telling me this?" Jared could not understand Fiorella's intentions. She hated Nicole so much. If Nicole was murdered, she would be over the moon, so why is she telling me all this? Although I don't like Nicole, and I don't want anything to happen to her since you like her so much, I don't want to see you being sad. Fiorella stabbed a piece of steak and chewed it in her mouth. Jared looked like he could not believe her words, so she added, "You can completely believe me on this matter. I could never lie to you." Jared was still staring into her eyes, seeking confirmation for a long time while he cut a piece of steak. "Of course, I believe Ms. Fisher's words. However, there are so many people in the same fight. Why do you think that the person is trailing Nicole?" "My people are also trailing Nicole. They saw with their own eyes that the person followed from Martin's factory all the way to the airport and boarded the plane." Nicole went on. "Mr. Johnston, do you think this is all just a coincidence?" Fiorella raised her eyebrow and looked at him. "Forget it. You can be the judge of it yourself. I'm just here to remind you that." Fiorella picked up her wine glass and took a sip. Jared stared at Fiorella the entire time. He had already lost the appetite to eat his steak. He racked his brain, thinking about who it could be that was trying to get Nicole's attention. "Mr. Johnston, what are you thinking about? Are you thinking of who it might be that is trailing Nicole?" Fiorella asked while looking at Jared's dazed expression. "How did you know, Miss Fisher?" Jared asked after being brought into reality by Fiorella's question. "I don't, but what I know is that Nicole had gone to Martin's factory recently. Do you think this might be related to one another, Mr. Johnston?" Fiorella did not know why, but she felt like it was related to one another. Jared heard Fiorella's words and was brought into realization and said, "Thank you, Miss Fisher, for telling me this. Today's meal is on me. I have other things to do now, so I'll be off." "Mr. Johnston, I'll consider this as you owing me a favor." Fiorella did not stop him from leaving, instead looking at the direction Jared was in. Jared stopped in his tracks and squinted at her and said, "Okay." He strode out of the Blue Whale restaurant, into his car and drove away. Meanwhile, Fiorella savored her food and wine, which she did not get to finish the last time. She could not care less about whether Nicole was being followed or not. She only knew that Jared would be concerned about Nicole, and she would have the upper hand in this situation. "I must be very smart, letting him know about Nicole being followed. Now, he owes me a favor. He would ask me for things and won't easily reject me anymore in the future," she thought. Jared dialed Martin's number while driving. "Are you at the factory?" "Yeah." "Okay, I'll be there." After a simple exchange of words, Jared hung up the phone, stepped on the accelerator, and drove toward the factory. When Jared arrived at Martin's factory, he did not bother to check the status of the rebuilding. He made a beeline to Martin. "Mr. Johnston, why are you in such a hurry? We can talk in my office," Martin said when he saw Jared's expression. "Okay." "What did you say?" Someone from the factory had followed Nicole and boarded the same flight. Martin's eyes widened in shock after hearing the news. "Is this news accurate?" "It should be accurate. I came here to ask you, have any of those you have fired met others?" Jared looked at Martin and asked. "I haven't heard any news about them contacting the others yet," Martin replied. Jared fell silent when he heard him. "Have there been any suspicious situations here in the factory recently?" Jared suddenly asked again. "No. Nothing has happened here in the factory since that person was fired." Martin shook his head. Could it be that the person's target has shifted to Nicole? It shouldn't be. No matter from what perspective it is being analyzed, it is targeting Martin and the factory. It's impossible to have a reason to target Nicole. Jared could not stop guessing in his mind mentally. "Mr. Johnston, what's the situation there like now? Is Nicole safe?" Martin looked at Jared with concern for Nicole in his eyes. Jared had already called Nicole several times on his way to the factory, but to no avail. He wanted to know what was going on with Nicole. "I can't get in touch with her, and I don't know what's going on with her," Jared said with a hint of disappointment in his voice. "Can't get in touch with her? How can this be?" Martin immediately became anxious when he heard it and thought, how can Jared not be able to get in touch with Nicole? Could it be something that had happened to her? Jared could not tell Martin that Nicole was angry with him, but watching Martin anxious made him even more anxious. "Maybe you can contact her," Jared said while looking at Martin. Me? Martin looked at Jared in surprise, not understanding what he meant. Hurry up and try to call her, Jared ordered a dazed Martin. Okay. Martin quickly took out his phone and dialed Nicole's number. Both Jared and Martin listened intently to the call tone, and after a long while, the call was answered. Martin, what are you calling me for? Nicole's voice came from the phone. At that moment, the hearts of Jared and Martin felt lighter when they heard her voice. Nicole, are you okay? Martin asked with concern in his voice. I'm doing quite well. Did something happen at the factory? Nicole asked. She felt a little weird hearing Martin's tone. The factory is fine. I haven't called you in such a long time, so I was just catching up, Martin said quickly to cover it up. It hasn't been that long, has it? Wasn't I in the country just a few days ago? Jared typed on the phone and showed it to Martin. Yeah. Where are you now? Martin asked according to Jared's words. Where else can I be? I'm working overtime at the R&D center. Nicole was upset and had not gotten any sleep due to the chips trouble. Is everything normal at the R&D center recently? Martin continued to ask according to Jared's questions. Everything's fine. What's wrong with you today? Why are you asking strange questions? Nicole sensed that something was wrong with Martin and asked. I'm fine. It's because of what happened in the factory recently, so I'm a little bit worried about you. Martin finished speaking and looked at Jared. Don't worry about me. You better think of a way to rebuild the factory as soon as possible. Is Jared helping out at the factory? Nicole asked when she was suddenly reminded what she had entrusted Jared to do before she left. Yeah. Mr. Johnston has been coming to the factory quite frequently recently. He also helped us find the person who started the fire. Martin praised Jared in front of Nicole. I see he still has some conscience. Nicole unconsciously complained. Martin did not expect Nicole to say such words and looked at Jared suspiciously, where Jared dodged eye contact for a moment. Does the person have any accomplices? Nicole asked Martin. Not in the factory. I've already fired him and sent people to watch over him. Martin reported the progress to Nicole. Well, you did the right thing. It is impossible for a worker who has nothing against you to set fire and risk being imprisoned. There must be someone instructing him to do so. Nicole's analysis became more certain. Mr. Johnston and I thought of the same thing too. Is there any news about the McCarthy family? Nicole asked. I haven't heard of anything as of the moment, Martin replied. Why has it gotten so silent with no news? Nicole thought to herself. Do you want to tell her about someone following her? Martin asked Jared in a small voice. Tell her so that she's aware and alert about it. Who are you talking to? Although Martin had lowered his voice, Nicole still heard some small voices. What no? Nicole, I have something to tell you, Martin suddenly said righteously. What's up? I've got some news about the day you flew back. Someone followed you from the factory and got on the same flight as you. You have to be careful and keep a close eye on the situation around you, Martin instructed, according to Jared's words. Someone has followed me abroad? All the way here? Nicole was a little surprised when she heard the news. She was too angry with Jared that day. She did not notice that someone was following her. Is this reliable? Nicole questioned. Yeah, it's reliable. Mr. Johnston told me. Martin directly reported Jared's name without thinking too much. It was too late for Jared to stop him from saying it. Martin looked at Jared suspiciously and thought, shouldn't I mention his name? Jared squinted his eyes at him and thought, the cat's out of the bag now. It doesn't matter anymore. Jared? Nicole questioned. Yes. Martin answered while looking into Jared's eyes. Nicole suddenly remembered that she had missed Jared's call just now and thought, did he call me earlier just to tell me about it? I am still angry at him, but fortunately, nothing happened. Otherwise, I would regret it even after my death. Nicole, are you still there? Martin asked after not hearing Nicole's response after a long time. Yeah, I'm still here. Did Jared come to the factory today? Nicole asked Martin. Martin had turned the speakerphone on so Jared could hear Nicole. Martin looked at Jared and asked him how to answer. Jared typed down on his phone and Martin replied according to Jared's words, he already left. Oh, Martin. Nicole wanted Martin to pass a message to Jared for her but suddenly gave up. What's wrong, you can tell me. It's nothing. Nothing will go wrong here. You safeguard the beacon until I get back. Is there anything else? If there's nothing else, I have to get back to work. Okay, take care. Alright, bye. After hanging up the phone, both Martin and Jared breathed out a sigh of relief at the same time. He looked at Jared and asked, Mr. Johnston, why didn't you tell Nicole directly? It doesn't matter who says it. If there's nothing else, I'll be off now. Jared left immediately after finishing his sentence. Just as Jared was about to leave, Martin said, Mr. Johnston, when Nicole asked about the McCarthy family earlier, I suddenly thought of a terrible thing. Martin paused while looking into Jared's eyes. What do you mean by that? Jared frowned and looked at Jared. His expression seemed to be worried about something. The McCarthy family mentioned about coming back to worship their ancestors. There has been no news up until now, and based on the news you brought here claiming that the person who followed Nicole could be. Martin left the sentence hanging and looked at Jared. You doubt the McCarthy family? Jared got the meaning of Martin's words and looked at him. It's just a suspicion. After all, Lily was very jealous of Nicole before and was tampering with Nicole's medication. She had intentions to harm Nicole, and now that she's back, she might know about Nicole's whereabouts. It's not impossible for her to get her revenge. Martin was familiar with Lily's jealousy of Nicole. Lily McCarthy did something to hurt Nicole? Jared had not heard of Nicole speaking of this before. If not for Martin today, he was afraid that he would never find out. Yeah. However, everything was exposed by Nicole, and she didn't get hurt because of it. Did Nicole not tell you about it? Martin looked at Jared with a puzzled face. Jared shook his head slightly and said, from the looks of it, there might be some unknown danger at Nicole's side at any given moment. I don't think you should worry too much about it. Isn't Nicole at the base? She should be safe there alongside Harvey and Kelly accompanying her. It shouldn't be much of a problem, Martin speculated. Leave Nicole's matter to me. There's still a lot for you to worry about the factory, but thank you. Also, you have to protect yourself too, just in case bad things happen at any time, given the current situation. Jared looked into Martin's eyes and reminded him. You too. Martin looked at Jared sincerely. I'll be off now. Jared walked downstairs after speaking. Max came over to Jared once he reached downstairs and greeted, Mr. Johnston, follow me. Leave the matters here to Claus, Jared ordered while glancing at the factory that was slowly getting rebuilt. Yes, sir. Max drove Jared to his villa, where Jared spent a long time in his study room pondering. He looked at Max and said, there are 2 things you need to do. 1. Investigate the recent movements of the McCarthy family and focus on investigating whether Lily McCarthy has made any moves. 2. Immediately send someone abroad to protect Nicole secretly and at all costs not to let her get hurt or harmed. Yes, sir. After Max left, Jared continued to sit alone in his study and was still thinking. Abroad, Nicole had woken up at her desk on a Sunday morning, and Harvey had placed breakfast on her desk. You're awake. Have something to eat first. Harvey glanced at her, displeased, with a pang of guilt in his heart. He knew she just came here to lead everyone's work, and he could not help but feel sorry for her and her sacrifice. Is that chip more important than her health? Harvey pondered for a while as he could not understand. Thank you. Nicole glanced at Harvey, then picked up a sandwich and put it in her mouth. Nicole, you don't get any benefits from this job. What are you working so hard for? Harvey asked her puzzledly from the side. You don't know the importance of this chip to the market. If you can make a better chip, you may get more orders using this chip. Nicole had always kept Jared's word in her mind as a reminder. It was why she was desperate. It is all because of him. That's not enough of a reason for you to work so hard on this. Do you even know who you are working for to meet the number of orders? Harvey reminded her that she was already working hard for Scott Harmon, and it was not worth it at all. Nicole glanced at him and said, "Of course I know." "All right, off you go." "Take some rest," Harvey said before leaving. Nicole looked at the computer screen while eating. "Today is the last day. If we don't succeed, we'd have to merge with Ike's group. Then everyone's hard work will all be in vain." Nicole took a glance at the office and saw that everyone was present. She stood up and looked at them and said, "Today's our last day of test runs. If we still fail by the end of the day, then everyone will have to go to Ike's R&D tomorrow." After Nicole finished speaking, everyone looked at each other. From their eyes, she could see that everyone was unwilling to admit defeat. "All right, since it's our last day, let's try our best." Nicole made a gesture of cheering. Everyone in the office began to get busy, even Harvey participated in it, as he had also put in a lot of effort the past few days. "Ms. Riddle, come and take a look." Nicole went over to check. This was the data from last time. It failed, but if you change it here and increase the value. "Yes. Ms. Riddle, over here." Nicole hurried over to another person calling her name. She looked at it and said, "Didn't you use it the day before yesterday? It's no wonder you kept getting it wrong. Have you rested well?" "I'm so sorry, Ms. Riddle. I'll revise it right away." Everyone has been working overtime these days, and he is indeed a little tired. "It's all right. Kelly, make some coffee for everyone to refresh ourselves." Nicole looked at Kelly and ordered. "Okay. How many raw materials do we have?" Nicole asked. "Probably enough for 3 more experiments." Nicole stroked her forehead and thought, 3 times was not enough. "I think I have to ask Ike for some more." Nicole turned around and walked outside of the office. Harvey had kept his eyes on Nicole while he was helping. He saw Nicole walking outside, and he immediately followed. "Where are you going?" Harvey came outside and called. Nicole looked back to see Harvey and explained, "I'm going to find Ike." "I'll come with you." Harvey caught up with Nicole. "No need. I think it's better if you stay and help out in the office." Nicole thought that there was no need to carry heavy things, thus she could handle it herself. Harvey could only stay in frustration after Nicole refused to let him follow. "Okay, if you need help, you must call me." "Okay." After speaking, Nicole walked toward Ike's R&D lab. Harvey glanced at Nicole's back before reluctantly returning to the office. "Ike, I need a favor." Nicole walked in and stood next to Ike. "Ms. Riddle, what do you need?" Ike saw a smile on the corner of Nicole's mouth. Nicole looked at the people around him and said, "Let's talk outside. I don't want to disturb their work." Ike nodded. He understood what Nicole meant and followed her outside of the R&D lab. "There's no one here, so let's talk," Ike said while looking at Nicole. "We only have enough materials for 3 experiments. Can you help me get some materials for me?" Nicole looked at Ike sincerely. This is no easy request. The materials that have been distributed are limited in number. You also know that some of the people here do not support your R&D. They definitely will not agree to give you the materials. Ike was in a tight spot as he was caught in the middle between 2 parties. Moreover, the materials were not in his control. He would need the approval of other superiors. "I know this matter is difficult, so I came to find you. I can't find anyone to help me here except for you, even if it's for a little bit." To Nicole, everything now is crucial. Every bit of material she could get her hands on was as important. At there, Nicole was just a nominal person in charge. She had little say in making very important decisions. If she were in her home country, she would have received the materials already. Ike saw that Nicole really needed it. After thinking for a while, Ike said, "I'll try my best to help you. It's uncertain whether I can get it or not, so don't get your hopes too high." "All right. Thank you, there are still many things to do in the office, so I'll go back and wait for your news." "All right." Nicole turned around and walked toward the office. Ike glanced at Nicole's office, let out a long sigh of relief and thought, How can I help her with this? When Nicole reached the doors of her office, Harvey saw her walking in and asked, "Did you not get it?" Ike promised to help. Let's wait for his news later in the afternoon. After speaking, Nicole walked over to her desk to continue working. In Zane Spears' organization, Carl had already finished preparations and was waiting for Zane's order to let people on board. After a while, Zane Spears appeared in front of everyone. He glanced at everyone and said, "Your task this time is to protect Curly Corporation in Lanningborg and eliminate all of the Raven members that are invading and have other malicious intentions." "Yes, sir," everyone said in unison. Zane glanced at everyone's equipment, geared up with the beacon, then set his eyes on Carl. He walked up to Carl and looked at him. "This task is extremely difficult due to the massive destruction of the Raven. There are only 3 production bases left for Curly Corporation. The production base in Lanningborg is the largest and most comprehensive among the 3, so you must protect it well and send the bravest ones to the battlefield if necessary. This is the authorized key given by Curly Corporation's CEO. You have to keep it safe." Zane placed a key into Carl's hand and looked at him seriously. Carl looked at the key he held tightly in his hand, then raised his head and looked at Zane with firm eyes and said, "Don't you worry, sir. We will complete our task." "Okay. Go board the plane," Zane ordered. "Yes, sir." "Get on the plane," Carl turned to look at everyone and ordered. Then he led the team onto the plane and flew into the sky under Zane's watchful eyes. After testing a few experiments, the materials left were only enough for 3. By noon, the materials left could only suffice for 1 experiment. Nicole glanced at the materials, raised her head to look at everyone, and said, "Let's get our lunch breaks." Everyone looked at Nicole, then put down their work and went to get their lunch at the restaurant. Harvey came to Nicole's side and said, "Let's go eat." "No, you go ahead. I don't have much of an appetite." Nicole looked disappointed, completely depleted, and unable to cheer up. "No can do. It's not shameful to declare a failure," Harvey comforted. "It's not shameful, but it's not the result that I wanted it to be." Nicole looked at him and explained. Not only were the materials limited, but the personnel and equipment were all in aspects not cooperating. So, you do whatever it is you need to do, and it doesn't matter if you succeed or not. When we return home, I will ensure my full support to you to help you achieve the results that you want. Harvey looked into Nicole's eyes seriously and spoke. Nicole suddenly felt that Harvey seemed much taller, but unexpectedly he said something that touched her, and a warm current flowed in her heart instantly. "Thank you. Your words are enough." Nicole looked into his eyes sincerely, with a smile on the corner of her lips. During this time abroad, if it were not for Harvey's bickering with her from time to time, she would be bored to death. "How about we have dinner together?" Harvey extended another invitation to Nicole. She noticed that Harvey had no intention of letting her go so easily, and she did not want him to worry and said, "Okay." At the restaurant, Nicole glanced around and did not see Ike. Harvey noticed that Nicole was looking around, so he sat down and asked, "What are you looking for?" "It's nothing. Let's eat." Although Nicole was having the food in front of her, her brain was constantly thinking about what they would do after they failed the experiments. Harvey noticed that Nicole seemed to be in a trance. He raised his hand and waved in front of her eyes, and said, "Hey, don't think about it. Eat first." Nicole glanced at Harvey and curled her lips slightly, giving a weak smile, then stopped thinking and continued eating. After lunch, Harvey took Nicole to the pantry for a cup of coffee. Nicole had refused as she wanted to rest.
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.